Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto video, I'm going to be doing a review of the brand new Pfister Comet SR, the newest sports car to be added in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, before we jump into this today, I want to let you know I am doing a shark card giveaway for this vehicle. I'm going to be handing out $1.25 million, which should cover the whole cost and a little bit of the customization of this new vehicle. That giveaway is going on my Twitter account, so I'll leave a link to that in the description, and I'll be announcing the winner on Friday. So if you are interested in that, definitely check it out, and you could be walking away $1.25 million richer. All right, so let's jump into the new vehicle, and actually, it can be found on the Legendary Motorsports site. It's the last Doomsday Heist vehicle. It's a two-seater sports car for $1.145 million. Pretty interesting price tag right there. You can see its vehicle description if you are interested. The one thing that caught me off guard is look at the traction. Now, I'm not sure if these vehicle stats matter, but it was at all 5 bars filled up. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but let's order this bad boy. Let's get to customizing it and starting our review. All right, so the Comet SR has just been delivered. Now, in case you're curious what this vehicle is in real life, it's actually based off of the Porsche 911 GT2 RS, which I believe was actually revealed in like the Forza Motorsport event. I think it was at like E3 or something like that. So this is a really cool car. Obviously, let's check out the interior and the startup sound right now. So that's the startup sound for the Pfister Comet SR. Let's take a look at the interior. It's really nothing special, to be completely honest with you. You have the Pfister logo on the middle of the steering wheel, and you have the built-in roll cage, which we'll touch on in a little bit. But other than that, nothing too special. Let's move on to modifying this vehicle. All right, so before we jump into any of the customization, the first thing you're going to notice about this vehicle is it has a lot of carbon fiber options on there. Now, fortunately for you, most of these carbon fiber options are changeable. So if you don't like it, you can remove it, or if you do like it, you can keep it. So it's a win-win situation either way. The first thing you can change is the front and the rear bumper. Again, you can remove the carbon fiber options, do a secondary option, then more of a race option. So that's something you can do if you want. Same with the back. You can do secondary color, primary, or carbon. You've also got the chassis, which will change the air intake back here. It's carbon fiber. You can change it to stock or the secondary color if you want. If we go to exhaust, there's a couple different exhaust options too. None of them leave the rear of the car, so that's actually better in my opinion. You can add extended arches to this vehicle. You can actually make the hood carbon fiber too, so that isn't something that's on there by default, but if you want it, you can certainly add that. As far as the respray goes, there's primary and secondary color. You actually can't change the trim color, which is a little unfortunate that you can't modify the inside, but you have primary and secondary color options. You can also upgrade the roof. I told you really every carbon fiber option can be removed if you want, and that's what I'm going to do on a couple pieces of this car. Same with the skirts. If you want that removed, you can. You can also add a sporty carbon fiber competition one at the bottom if you want as well. It has a lot of spoiler options too. This is actually one of the first few Pfister Comets in the game that can actually have no spoiler. So if you don't want a spoiler, you can totally keep that off. Now, one thing to note, even though this says stock spoiler, you won't receive a traction bonus unless you move up to one of the other carbon fiber ones. So one thing to note, because this car has 100% traction by default, I'm not sure if it is impacted by having a spoiler on there or not. Now, for races, I typically put one on just to be safe, but it's really hard to tell because this thing has 100% traction by default. Most of the spoilers look pretty great on this car, but my personal favorite is the carbon stock spoiler. I think that looks best with the nice carbon accents on this vehicle. Now, in case you're wondering, the wheels are not anything special. The stock ones are the exact same as Chromatic Z. So if you just choose those, you can modify the color if you want. So there's ultimately no difference there. So this was my final product right here. We went with a nice bright red color with some carbon fiber accents left on there. Now, one thing you've probably noticed is the mirrors. You actually can't change the mirrors, and they're carbon fiber by default, which in my opinion is a little unfortunate, especially if you don't want any carbon fiber on the car. Also, if we go to the interior, you see this roll cage right here. It's fixed. You actually can't remove this. Now, this car in real life has a fixed roll cage, so Rockstar is accurate with that. But I know some people don't really like that and might not want to see it. One way you can get around that if you just really dislike it is making the windows limo tint. and then it's really hard to see from the back when you're driving. So that is sort of one way to get around having the roll cage on this vehicle. Now, one other thing that I'm just not a fan of this car is the engine. So the engine is in the back, and the texture for it is horrible. Like, it literally looks like it's come straight out of Vice City. I mean, Rockstar made some really beautiful car interiors and engines, but the Pfister Comet SR does not have one, and the interior is nothing to write home about either. I do like the headlight designs. Some people aren't necessarily a big fan of that, but I actually am, so I don't really see the problem with that. Maybe people just think they look a little bit funky or a little bit weird, but I personally enjoy it. And then the fact that there's nothing in the trunk, it just feels a little bit strange to me. But those are just cosmetic things. The rest of this car, I actually really enjoy. And that's going to bring us now to the performance of this vehicle and how this ultimately stacks up with the other sports cars. So I knew right off the bat after initially testing this vehicle that this was going to be pretty quick. But how would it compare to the king of the sports car class? And that is the Ocelot Pariah. Now, once again, for this video, I'm going to be using the testing results done by Broughy. So if you want to check out his full video and top speed test, I'll leave a link to those in the description. Essentially, under his track, his testing, and his condition, the Pfister Comet SR falls second in the sports car class, which is amazing. And under any other class, you'd think to yourself, wow, second, that's incredible. The only problem with that is the vehicle that's ahead of it, and it is the Ocelot Pariah. The Ocelot Pariah is an absolute machine, especially when it comes to top speed. Now, in my opinion, I feel like there's a good chance Rockstar could nerf the Ocelot Pariah in the next update because it's just way overpowered. And if that does happen, there's also a good chance that the Pfister Comet SR will jump into first place. So the performance of this vehicle is really incredible. The only thing that stops it from being like the full-out king of the sports car class is the Ocelot Pariah, which at the end of the day is really closer to a supercar more than it is a sports car. So it's a little unfortunate that Rockstar have a little bit of a balance issue right now, but the performance of this vehicle, in my opinion, is amazing. It handles really well, has great traction, really good braking. Overall, I think this is a really pleasant vehicle to use in races. Again, the only downside here is the Pariah, where you're going to notice on a drag race like this, the Pariah will be finishing 5 or 6 seconds ahead. And that's just due to its insane top speed. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, does that mean the Pfister Comet SR is still competitive in races? And that depends. The Ocelot Pariah is so powerful that unless you're on a track that just has no straightaways where the Pariah is just going to leave every car in the dust, you really aren't going to stand a chance. So unfortunately, this vehicle, just even though it's amazing, is sitting behind an even greater sports car. So it's kind of like the top three. It's the LG and this car, the Comet SR, and then the Pariah. But the Pariah just has that major top speed advantage that really puts it ahead of really every vehicle in its class. All right, so now it's time for my final review. Is this the new best sports car in the game? Let's find out. So price is not terrible. $1,145,000. That's not bad, especially considering there are some really expensive sports cars in the game, like the Neon, and let's not forget the Lynx, which is $1.7 million. So sitting just over $1 million, 1.1, not all that terrible. Customization, I think, is okay, not great. I feel like there's a lot of things missing on this car. Liveries would be one of them, which for a race car you think Rockstar would add. The fact that you can't change the mirrors, there's some little details I don't like the engine stuff. So I'm going to give it like an A-, B+. And then performance is an absolute A+. The only thing stopping this vehicle is just an overpowered supercar that happens to be in the sports car class. So until there's a nerf, you do want to be careful. The Pariah is still your best bet in sports car races, but the Comet SR is a very, very close second and a very competitive vehicle that I definitely think you should buy. So this vehicle does not get the buyer beware sticker for me. I personally think it's a really great car, and it's a vehicle that I'm glad I have bought and that I'm going to be keeping in my garage and definitely using in sports class races. But that's all I've got for you guys in this video today. Let me know what your opinion is on the Pfister Comet SR in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care. and I'll see you guys in the next video.